Now, if you're familiar with which I imagine most of you are by now, this is no big deal, but this is a big deal. Back in '6, when the Reader was first launched, this was like magic. A digital display of any sort which looked like a digital display was mind-boggling. Paper? Paper. The viewing angles are perfect. Just like paper, bring it outside and it's as if you're reading an actual paper. Even in direct the display is perfect.
In every way.
Just like paper. Now the contrast wasn't remarkably good, about as good as paper, but if you're reading paper, that's perfect. And the fact that the screens were paper didn't really matter because you're reading paper. Certainly the display technology wasn't perfect, but because it looked and behaved as if it were a sheet of paper, it was readable in any conditions a book is, and it didn't come. It's some pretty neat stuff, I'll admit, but the readabilization as passes through it results in limitations. Like the one in this watch, have excellent contrast and readability, but only under certain conditions. Depending on the angle of the hitting it, it might suddenly become very dark and muddy. You really want the source to be above you or behind you because it needs to pass through the display and be reflected straight back for best results. This is what makes devices like the Game Boy Color so you need to find some way to get comfort, or else you'll be holding it at a weird angle the whole time you use it. Which of course is what usually happened. Giving the display a back fixes most of these problems, though let's not forget the dark days of Let's think for a moment what makes up a printed piece of paper. The paper is white, and when light lands on it, it isn't reflected back. Each of these particles functions like a teeny tiny etch-a-sketch. See, it's filled with aluminum powder. When it's shaped, the powder is aluminum, and as it moves, it scrapes the aluminum off of the glass, exposing the dark insides of the toy. By sandwiching a boy between two electrodes, you can choose to make them appear either black or white, depending on
the hardware that's installed in it.
So, taking it a step further, if you take a great big bunch of these great big boys and sandwich them between an active matrix of electrodes, you can produce a screen with given size and resolution. So long as the electrodes on the display side are you'll be able to see the boys underneath. And that's exactly how most boys work. Rolls right off the tongue. The microcapsules are so small and the fluid they're And if I may, I'd like to digress slightly and admire the design of this unit. While buttons on things seem to have gone the way of the dodo, I really liked the aesthetic of this device. It's got expandable storage, and get this, that's right, it's an e-reader that has a head. What a strange world we were in back in 2007, putting heads in things. That sure was something, wasn't it?